going on, everybody? Welcome back to my tutorial series on the system. Part 4, here we go. I'm going to be discussing how to trade options using the system. When I first started trading using the system, I was trading strictly SPY options. Now, there are a few things that I learned along the way, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you guys in this video. There really is no secret to trading options using the system. It's most important to think about risk management. I made plenty of mistakes along the way, which is why I want to help you guys to better understand why risk management is so important, tips and tricks that you can use to manage risk better, because at the end of the day, that's what options trading is all about. The best options traders are the best risk managers. Now, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so the first thing that you have to be really good at recognizing is the market environment. Now, what is the market environment? That's the word or term that I use to determine the feel that the market is given. And there are a couple different ways that I look at things. Either one, there's a lot of momentum in the market and the market is providing great trend from one day to the next. So that would look something like you're getting Monday green day, Tuesday green day, Wednesday green day. Nice follow through from day to day in the market. A range-bound market or a choppy market is something like what we're seeing on the chart that I have pulled up right here. So the market has defined a range and it's just kind of ping-ponging in between that range. So why is it important to determine the market environment? Well, when you're going to enter a trade, you want to set your price targets. You want to have expectations of what you want to see out of this trade, okay? So in this type of environment, we had FOMC last week. The market has put in a range between 3,900 up to about 4010 SPX, right? And it's kind of just been, again, ping-ponging back and forth, defining a range. I know that this is a more range-bound, sideways, choppier market. So that helps me to determine what I can expect from a trade. So, for example, let's say I wanted to go long today. On the buy signal, we got the cross of the 10 SMA over the 50 SMA on the 30-minute SPX chart. We're trading above the 50 SMA on the 1-hour chart. My expectation for this trade cannot be that the market is going to rip 100 points, because I know that there's very little momentum and we're near the high of this range. And look what happened. We rejected right at 4,000 SPX today, and looks like we're getting a double top there. Okay, so my expectation for this trade is I'll probably take it from 39.75 up to 4,000. Perfect. That's still 25 points. That's about 2.5 points on SPY. And so I can take a day trade with a strike price 2 to 3 points out of the money, because I know exactly what I'm targeting. Now, let's say the market isn't in a range and there's been a ton of momentum and there's huge giant price swings, and you think on the next buy signal, the market is just going to continue to rally and it's going to absolutely explode. Well, then in that case, you can get a little bit more aggressive and you could go maybe 5 to 10 points out of the money. So that's why understanding the market environment as a whole is crucial, because it gives you an idea of the potential outcome you can expect. You can't go into a choppy market and buy a strike price, buy an options contract 15 points out of the money and expect it to work in your favor. That's just not what the market is giving you. So to go along with that, the next thing that you need to understand is the goal of the trade. What is the goal? You got to know when you enter this trade. As I just mentioned, I just laid out a scenario. Okay, I'm going to go long as 50 SMA on the buy signal, and I'm going to play up to 4,000. Okay, the goal of the trade is to catch about 25 points, and then I'm going to take that as a day trade. Okay. Now, in a different environment, maybe you're looking to swing trade. I wouldn't swing trade in this type of range-bound market. That's just not something I'd be interested in doing, since, again, I said there's very little day-to-day trend. There's very little carryover. If there is a market, if you're trading in a market, and again, the market is shifting all the time, so this isn't something that you can necessarily predict. You have to react and you have to be watching. But let's say that the market is full of momentum and you're looking to swing trade. Perfect. Have that planned ahead of time. Do not let a day trade, do not let your long at the 50 SMA on the buy signal turn into a swing trade just because it didn't work. Okay. A lot of times that's what happens. You go long and the trade doesn't work. And but this, I still think it, and then next thing you know, you're holding overnight. And then next thing you know, the trade goes against you and you get smacked and you're down 50% and you're shitting your pants. Okay. You have to have a plan, an idea of what you want to get out of the trade, determine if you want it to be a day trade or a swing trade. Once you have determined if you want it to be a day trade or a swing trade, the next step is, of course, to pick the proper options contract. I just laid out a scenario where I was going for a day trade and I was shooting for 25-point move on the SPX or 2.5 points on the SPY. So I take 2 to 3 points out of the money on my SPY contracts and I take that for a day trade. Boom, I hit my profit target, take most, and I'm out. How do you know how much time to buy? A lot of this is going to be personal preference. For me, I always like to buy at least 2 weeks of time on my options contract. I don't do any of, the same week trading. I don't do any of the 0 DTE stuff. That's just not my mojo. I don't do well doing that. And I also just don't like doing that because it's way too stressful. Those contracts are moving around, flying around, but also very important to understand. What I'm doing here is I'm trading a 30-minute chart and an hourly chart. So I am looking for moves on the higher time frame. So in order to take advantage of a setup that I'm seeing on an hourly chart, I'm likely going to need more time. I'm not going in for a scalp. I'm going in for a larger move, a decently sized move. At least at the bare minimum, I'm looking for 15 points, right? When I take a trade using the system. So for a day trade, I would at least be giving myself 2 weeks of time on the contracts. Now, in the case of taking a swing trade, I would give myself at the very least a month on those contracts. Here's the reason why. Yes, it's not going to be as sexy. Yes, you're probably not going to hit that 100% gain overnight unless something crazy happens. But the bottom line is it's a much easier way to manage risk. It is much easier to manage risk when you buy yourself plenty of time and when you're taking that risk overnight. And again, you're playing a move on the hourly and 30-minute charts. You want to make sure that you can see that move out and you want to be able to trade the chart. If I have a buy signal on the hourly and I think that over the next few days, the market could rip 50 to 100 points in my favor, I don't want to get spooked out because I didn't buy enough time on my options contracts and I was forced to exit or my stop loss hit. I want to buy at least a month out, at least. There's been times where I'll buy options contracts 2 months out. Now, the reason for this, again, is because I want to be able to trade the chart. And if I'm swinging, it means I'm looking for a multi-day move. And I think the best way to take advantage of that is buying plenty of time on those contracts. Now, to reiterate, picking the right strike price is also very, very important. If I'm swinging, in the case that I'm going a month out on the contracts, 2 months out on the contracts, that's likely going to mean I'm going at least 5 to 10 points out of the money on SPY cons, okay? Why is that? Well, because if I'm swinging, it means I'm looking for a multi-day move. So I'm expecting, based on the moves that I've seen on the system, that I can get 50 to 100 points in my favor before we're overextended from the 50 SMA and things start to reverse. So 50 to 100 points on SPX translates over to 5 to 10 points on the SPY. So I would go 5 to 10 points out. I would go at least a month out and give myself plenty of time. Then on the other side of that is if you're going just for a day trade, even if you're going just for a scalp, you don't have to go 5 to 10 points out of the money. I would look at the targets on my chart. I would define that range. And based off of that, I would then choose a strike price similar to the example I shared earlier, where from this 50 SMA, my price target was about 25 points higher or 2.5 points higher on SPY. So I would go 2 to 3 strikes out of the money. All right, the last tip that I'll give for trading options using the system, a major no-no is holding options contracts through news, something like CPI, FOMC, NFP, something that is going to bring volatility to the markets. It's going to move the markets a ton. The only way I would be holding is if I was already in profit and I only had runners. It is extremely stupid and dangerous to hold options. So if the market is trading higher and the system gives a buy signal, but FOMC is tomorrow or NFP is in the morning, it is still super risky to hold those options contracts. Even though you think to yourself, well, the system, everything looks so strong. You don't know what the market is going to do when it learns new information. So I never hold options contracts through a news event. And lastly, to answer a question that I know many of you will have, no, I don't trade SPX options directly. I only trade SPY. At this point in my trading, I'm almost exclusively trading futures. I will every once in a while trade SPY options. I'll be talking about futures in the next video. But again, to answer that question that I know a bunch of you are going to have, I don't trade SPX options. I'm talking about the SPY options. For anybody who isn't aware, I trade live all day, every day in the Kane Capital Discord. I send out my live trading alerts, entries, exit, stop outs, win or lose. It's all out there for everybody to see. We've got an awesome community of people learning to trade. We've got 6 total head traders, myself and 5 other guys, all with different styles. If that's something you're interested in, you can go to the link in the description. I'll see you in the Discord. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and found it to be helpful, please do me a massive favor. Hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. I'll have another video coming out soon. We appreciate all of your support. And if you're not already, give me a follow on Twitter at BorjasTrades. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you on the next video.